First announcement today is our captains. They were elected on by the players, and the coaches all have a vote too. But on defense, we had James Burgess, Keith Kelsey, and Sheldon Rankins. And offensively was Aaron Epps and Brandon Radcliffe. So I thought the players did a good job of selecting captains. Those guys did a really nice job of leading, actually going all the way back to the winter time and through spring ball and summer. I always like to vote for captains the first day of camp so that they get to demonstrate who the leaders are going to be throughout the entire summer. But I'm happy about it. I think they've all done a nice job in the practices the first 2 days, and they have a lot of pride in being elected captains, so I think they'll do a great job leading our team. First couple days of practice is one where you make mistakes, you get used to what the pace is, and we did a lot of good things. I like our attitude, I like the way we work. I think we're doing a really nice job of communicating on defense, and you can see the leadership stand out there at the linebacker spots because they're the ones that make all the calls. Offensively, we've shown to make some good plays. Quarterbacks have all looked good at times and made mistakes at times. But overall, the first 2 days, it's a good start. We'll practice again, split practice today and tomorrow, and then come together as a full team on Monday. So it's good for the rookies or the newcomers because they get a lot of reps, they get coached on every play, and they get to learn how to get used to the tempo. We did better yesterday than the first day. Like I said, the first day they came out and they were with all the anxiety and anxiousness, they were kind of out of gas after the first 15 minutes. So we relaxed a little bit, and they did a much better job yesterday. Although it was kind of spring ball weather yesterday, so they're pretty lucky. Wish we were going hard here right now on the turf because it'd be good for them. But it's good to be back on the practice field. There's no doubt about that. Questions?
How are things different this year than last?
Well, I think we're ahead as far as our knowledge of what we want to do, and guys that have made plays within the system, guys that are helping teach, the young guys. That's one of the fun things for me to watch, and, James Burgess probably stands out as much as anybody, but when he's on the sideline, they're focusing in on it and trying to learn when it's not their rep. So I think we're definitely ahead in that area. We are, young on offense. That's the one spot where you look at the wide receivers and the offensive line. There's a lot of newness out there. So we're teaching and learning a lot there. But they're picking it up pretty fast. First thing I worry about when you have a young offense is trying to do too much, So what we have to figure out here in the next week and a half is what it is that we can learn and execute. I always believe that, particularly in the opening game of the year on offense, that the number one thing is to not hurt yourself with stupid penalties and turning the ball over and mistakes. So we've got to get where we all understand, exactly what the scheme is, what the defense is, and then be able to play without errors. And that's not happening right now. We have errors happening, one guy on one play, and that's when you're not very good yet. You got to get all 11 guys on the same page, and it's hard enough to attack and beat defenses when you do things right. So we got to make sure that we don't make mistakes. He's been good. Yeah, Will's doing good. He's been sharp, throwing the ball. You can see the carryover of his knowledge of the offense, and his decision making has been on time. I'm a little bit surprised, really, how sharp he's been and how well he's executed. He's throwing the ball well. He's been keeping his vision downfield, and I think he's had 2 really good practices. Of course, we're only in helmets, so. But I'm really happy from what I've seen. He got sore after the first day, which was expected. and you go in and get treatment, get ice. He's up. He's one of the first guys in every morning to get treatment. So the good thing about Will is he's been through it before. You know, we always worry about a freshman when it's their first injury and they don't really know how to grind and how to work through it, and get used to that there will be some pain, and know how to go about the rehab. But Will's already done that, so he's used to it. But we just got to see what the volume does.
How is Reggie better?
He's throwing the ball much better. The ball's coming out of his hand in a tighter spiral. His accuracy is improving. It's not quite exactly where we want it yet. His timing is better. Reggie's always probably going to play better when it's live, because of his ability to make plays and move around. And so what we're working hard on him right now is the passing game, being precise with his drops, being on time with his delivery, and then his vision and decision making. So, but I think he's improved a lot.
Is his footwork and fundamentally is he way ahead of where he was this time last year?
He's getting better. Yeah, he's getting better. His timing on his drops, his speed of his drops are much better. The understanding of which drop for which play, he's completely different than a year ago. That's kind of what Lamar Jackson's going through right now, is not understanding which drop goes with which play yet and what type of timing he has. So there's a lot of learning there as a quarterback.
Coach, what are the challenges of replacing so many offensive linemen, and how early would you like to have that group solidified?
Yeah, I think we just got to, challenge them every day in practice and not be in a hurry. One of the great teachers that I had in Bruce Snyder when I worked for him he always said, don't make a decision until you have to. So with the offensive line, we've got to let it work out, put them in positions. Yesterday we rotated a little bit. When someone made an error, we got them out of there, threw some young guys in the fire to put pressure on them, see how they would react. So it's a daily process. We've got a great offensive line coach in Coach Klanakis, and it's not new to him. We've had to build young guys and get them ready to play in the opener before. So I'm excited though. I like our ability, and I like our new guys as far as their size and athleticism and their competitiveness. But we got some work ahead of us.
With the new guys and the younger guys and you have a lot more depth, right?
Yeah, exactly. We got 11 guys that are working to try to fill, 5 spots, and then it could end up being 12. Could end up being 12 guys, So yesterday we had a couple of the younger guys had to work with the vets because of they joined us late, and they went through orientation, school orientation all morning long, and couldn't practice with the newcomers. So that's why they worked with the veteran group.
Coach, with the transfers and the guys who had to sit out last year, Josh Harvey, Clay, and Shaq, how tough is it going to be for them to get back into game action after sitting out a year? And what challenges do they face?
Yeah, I think actually, them being in here all year long, going through the Sunday night practices, understanding the terminology, getting spring practice behind them, it's actually easier for them now to know what they're doing. Obviously, there's going to be some anxiety getting ready for that first game and how they're going to handle the pressure, and that's something that they got to get back used to. But all 3 guys are very mature, and you can tell that they understand what it's all about. I've been real impressed, with Josh Harvey in the secondary. That size is hard to deal with as a quarterback. Shaq's doing a good job competing and working hard and doing what we're asking him to do. And Jaquay has shown his ability to really catch the ball and elevate and catch the ball. So all 3 guys should help us.
Coach, at what point in practice on the timeline will you be able to start working specifically for the Auburn game?
Well, we'll start mixing it in, actually. Offensively, we've got to see some of the things that they do on defense, some of the different looks and pressures. And I think Tuesday we actually have a couple periods in practice where we call them crossover, where our number one offense and defense sees the looks of Auburn from our number two offense and defense, and it gives you a fast tempo look. It's 15 minutes work, and you get a lot of plays, and you get to see some of the things that Auburn does offensively and some of the things they do defensively.
Expect from Sheldon. I mean, he had such a great year and a lot of attention. What do you expect from him this year?
Yeah, I think he should have a great year. You know, one of the things that he is probably, we always talk to our players about becoming an expert at their technique, understanding their fundamentals and knowing what the other side of the ball is doing, and he's as good as anybody. You know, he really knows what he's doing technically with his hands, with his footwork. He's very disciplined with it, and he really understands blocking schemes. He understands the run schemes and how to attack and beat them. He understands the pass protections and how he counters off of that. So he's really smart and very talented. How many true freshmen? Yeah, it's hard to say now just after 2 practices, you know, but we will need some help at the receiver spot. We need some depth there. You know, those 2 offensive linemen are going to certainly compete for it in Kenny Thomas and Jaron Christian. You know, Chandler got here late, wasn't here all summer, so it would be hard for him to really get in the mix, and he'd probably redshirt, you know. I'm trying to think on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to need the safeties to get in the depth, work, compete, see where they're at, how quickly they can learn, but certainly bring them along and be on special teams. And you know, it's a long season anymore, so it's you can get guys that really help you in the second half of the season that, you know, early in the year they might not be there yet.
Or just to back off that a little bit, you lost a lot of production at the wide receiver spot. Who are some of the younger players in that position who have really distinguished themselves the first couple days?
Yeah, well, Travion Samuels we had here in the spring, and he's very quick. He's got good hands. He does a great job running after the catch. We were excited about a couple of the scrimmages he's had in spring, and then he hurt his toe, but he's back 100%, and so he's certainly going to be in there competing for playing time. Amani Spence of the other 3 freshmen is kind of a little bit ahead. He has the ability to practice hard every play, doesn't really get tired, and mentally he's tough enough to do it. So that puts him a little bit ahead, and he's got good talent, good ability. So I think, you know, those 2 guys for sure, and then we got to keep bringing along, you know, Pete and Jalen Smith and see how they progress. Yeah, I think when you look at what our biggest strength is, certainly it'd be our front 7. You know, the guys with the really good talent, and a lot of experience, and really good students of the game. You know, obviously we've got some work to do in the secondary and replacing some really good players, but we got guys that have practiced and been in it and, you know, executed before. And then on offense, you know, when you look at our strengths, I like our running back crew. I think you guys are going to really like Cole Hicatini, one of our tight ends, who's extremely talented running and catching. We can do a lot of things with him as a tight end. And then our biggest challenge is getting that offensive line ready to go. No, I don't think so. I was trying to think about that the other day, and I don't think I've ever had one that's had the same injury, you know. But I think the greatest thing about it is he says it feels better now than it ever has since he injured it. So, you know, I'm excited about that. And when I watched him the last 2 days, and we try to, you know, watch him real close, he's doing real well. He's doing real well with it. Way further ahead than I thought he'd be. Kyle's doing a good job. You know, Kyle's strength is decision making and understanding. He's got to get the ball out on time. You know, that's a big thing for him because he needs to make up for the arm strength by timing, which a lot of great quarterbacks have done. You know, you learn how to read defenses, you learn how to anticipate and throw the ball before receivers are out of their break. So he's right in there. He's working hard. He probably the first practice had the highest completion percentage, and I liked his decision making. Came back the second practice, wasn't quite as good. So it'll be fun to see how it all plays out. But one thing I really like is they all encourage each other. They all compete very, very hard, but they do understand it's a team game.
Coach, with such a young offense, who are some of the guys that are stepping up leadership-wise and kind of taking control of that side of the ball?
Well, obviously Aaron Epps and Brandon Radcliffe were voted captains, so they immediately, you can see the respect the players have for them because it was, by a wide margin they were elected the captains. But, all three quarterbacks have to lead. That's part of being a quarterback is your ability to make the guys around you better. A lot of it's by doing your job well, not really just talking, which they're all working hard at doing that. So, Charles Stanberry is a guy that has the respect from every player on our team because he's tough and he works hard and shows everybody that he's a great competitor. I think Cole's a guy that has the respect of everybody on our team. Jamari Staples, although he's new, has done a really nice job out there the last couple days, and I'm excited about how much better he looks now than he did in spring ball. Yeah, he's kind of the true H-back guy, so he can line up in a lot of different spots, much like Joshua Tinch did for us when he was here, and play some receiver, play some tight end, play some H-back, play some fullback. He's very talented and kind of a cross between all those positions. Yeah, well, I think Keith's going to be okay. It's just when, and we're going to err on being cautious with that injury, so he'd come back at full speed. But knock on wood, everything's on time and he's doing well with it. But yeah, if he wasn't back, we would have some issues. Although Mickey Crum has come back in great shape. Mickey's a guy that is very, very talented. Last year he struggled with conditioning and not being able to do his assignments when he gets tired, and he's way ahead of that, even better than he was all spring. So I'm excited. He worked extremely hard all summer, and when you look back at his high school tape and then what he did last year on scout team, he's a very talented guy.
Tier 3 for James Quick. What do you need?
We need consistency, consistency catching the ball in his hands. We need him to get better at running after the catch, which he's working hard on. But he's doing a nice job of leading by example. James another guy that can practice all day and go full speed every rep. So that's good for everybody else to see is that he hustles back, takes more reps than any of the other receivers, and he's working real hard. He just needs to be consistent, looking the ball in his hands. When he looks it in and actually sees it to the tuck, he's got good hands. His issue is when he tries to run before he catches the ball and he turns away from it.
How about the return? Do you do
He'll be one of our kick returners. Yeah.
How difficult is that habit to break, trying to run before you catch it?
Well, he's going to break it. We're going to make sure he does it. We just got to do a better job of coaching it. That's on us as coaches. And one of the drills that we do is when you catch a ball, you tuck it away and then you call out words or blanks, which means as I tuck it away, are there words showing or is it blank when I'm showing it? So that's how you know whether he really looked it all the way to the tuck. If he catches the ball and turns his head, well, he doesn't know if it's words or blanks. So, that's up to us as coaches to do a better job of getting him to really focus and concentrate and tuck it away. So that's our job. We got to do a better job of it.
You said not trying to do too much too soon with the young offense. Do you look at your defense as a security blanket early on in the season, especially with such a tough stretch?
Now we need to come out and go. Let's go. Let's get this offense cranked up and go score points.
How far, because they've been doing spring archetype or maybe on this young guys, how much further along are they?
Yeah, they're a lot further along. They understand the pace of practice. They understand the tempo. They know parts of the offense and defense because they've actually executed it. Jair is an extremely mature young man, one of our hardest workers. You know, I always tell the staff the number one thing we got to make sure Jair doesn't do is overwork. He'll like to sneak out there and do stuff on his own afterwards, and we got to make sure that he doesn't do that. He doesn't wear himself out because he's extremely motivated. He is, yeah. He's a returner. I mean, he was a dynamic player in high school with the ball underneath his arm. You know, it's like one of those where we were fighting over him, offense or defense, and you know, our need is to him to be a real good corner for us, and he's got the catch-up speed, and he's got a lot of confidence. Yeah, no question. He's you know, like a year ago, number one thing with Brandon was, man, you got to learn the pass protection. You learn the pass protection, you get more reps running the ball. And then he started in practice scoring every time he touched the ball, running all the way to the end zone, working as hard as he possibly could, basically saying, hey, coaches, I'm going to show you I need to get in there. So then I would just continue to tell him, you need to know how to protect the quarterback. You know, once you protect the quarterback, you get more reps. But, you know, he showed everybody on the offense and the coaches that he wanted to play just by how hard he worked. You know, he's got a great personality. He likes to work hard and smile, and you know, he's a fun kid to be around. I enjoy him a lot. He's out of shape. You know, we got to get him in shape, but he's talented. He can really bend. He's got great lower body strength. He's got good balance. So once we get him in shape and get him to understanding, then he maybe can make a run to get in the depth. But right now he needs to get in better shape.
Our assistants are available in the back.
Thank you.